guys, but I got to take it off. Okay. All right. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our first Zoom math class. Before we get started, there are some definite rules that Mr. Wolford wanted us to go ahead and let you guys know about, and that is that you need to have either your face showing or that black screen. You cannot add a profile picture to Zoom. If you do, then we're supposed to go ahead and remove you from the room after today and get you guys to go ahead and take that down. Also, try to make sure that you are signed in with your own name so that I can call on you and know who I'm talking to, and so that the other students in the class know who the participants are. You can pop out of Zoom right now and change those settings if you need to, and then come back in at any time. And remember, this is going to be recorded, so this will be on YouTube, so you'll be able to view it on YouTube there, on my YouTube channel. All right, so we're going to start with the Fibonacci Project check-in to see if you guys have any questions at all and see how you're doing on your Fibonacci project. So I see Braden raised his hand, so I am going to go ahead and unmute you. Just give me a second here. I got to figure out how to get to you because there's a lot of people in here. Are we in order? There's not Braden. Let me see here. One second, guys. Bear with me here. I see a lot of people in this room. So glad you guys woke up to come to my lesson. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I found just about everyone except for the people that raised their hands. Okay, Owen, I'm going to unmute you. What's your question?
I was wondering, like, so the Fibonacci project, for like how to set it up, would it be like you take a picture of, let's say, that Milky Way you have up there?
Yeah.
So you put like the this is the golden spiral because it's like, I don't know, like in the golden rectangle, this Milky Way is part of Fibonacci.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And
Can you just explain it?
Yeah, just make sure that you're looking at my sample explanations that I posted.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, as long as you have, that's the minimum of what you need. So as long as you just have that, you're good. You're just basically saying, like, why is this Fibonacci in nature? Well, this is Fibonacci in nature because it shows the golden spiral, or it's Fibonacci in nature because it has a Fibonacci number, like Fibonacci number of spirals on a pineapple, because those aren't golden spirals. Those are like numbers of spirals.
Those are number spirals, okay.
Right, or if it's got a Fibonacci number of petals or leaves, or like a starfish has a Fibonacci number of arms. So that's exactly all you need for your explanation. I hope I answered your question there. Emma, I'm going to unmute you. What's your question, Emma? Emma Jones?
I have a question. Oh, look.
You don't have a question?
No, I don't.
You just raised your hand to be fancy, huh?
No.
Well, you raised your hand, girl. You just didn't realize it. You virtually raised your hand. Antoine, I'm going to call on you. Where are you, Antoine? Okay, Antoine and then Nikhil. I see both of you have a question. So, Antoine, what's your question?
So for the Fibonacci sequence project, do we have to just like explain it, like saying like it's a part of the numbers and like how to explain it, or do we have to like show like the numbers in the sequence?
No, all you do, just like what I was saying to Owen, if you're dealing with the number, if you have, like, let's say a flower that has 5 petals or something, you just say this is related to the Fibonacci sequence in nature because it has 5 petals and 5 is the Fibonacci number.
Okay.
That's all you have to do. And sometimes daisies have 34 petals and 34 is the Fibonacci number. So make sure you look at my explanations that I have posted on Edsby. Okay, and Nikhil, I see that you lowered your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and I see Jake has a question. Jake, I'm going to unmute you. Do you have a question, Jake, or are you just trying to be fancy?
No, we have a question.
Okay, yes.
Go ahead, ask her.
My friend has a picture of something.
Yes.
But I can't get it, so can you send a picture to me?
Can he send a picture to you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Oh, you have ram horns.
He
We
has
got to
ram
deal with
horn.
quarantine. Quarantine puts us on a little bit of a making some
Standstill.
exceptions here, you know, to try to deal with whatever we can do to get this stuff done.
I have ram horns. Why it has ram horns and where you want it?
Yeah, Mom has ram horns.
I'm sorry?
Wyatt has ram horns that we want to use, so.
Okay. Oh, that's perfect. I think Kaida has a question. Kaida, what's your question?
Yeah, so like golden spiral is like where it like fits in like the rectangle, right? And it has like the spiral, and then like if I was like doing a flower, I'd do like the Fibonacci number of petals, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. The spiral it's a specific spiral. It's that one that's really tight in the center and then gets larger as it spirals out, like you see in that galaxy that's pictured here. And that is also seen in like a chameleon's tail, the trunk of an elephant, a hurricane when viewed from space. There's a lot of different spirals that you could find, you know, that show that golden spiral. So that would be that explanation. In your project, by the way, guys, I just want to say two things that happen to be common questions. You could actually do a mixture, obviously, of golden spirals and Fibonacci numbers as your explanations, like having flowers with the number of petals that are Fibonacci mixed with, you know, galaxies and things like that that have the spiral. Also, you can, I had someone ask me, you know, it being so hard to get outside and everything like that, they asked me, well, I want to take a couple pictures that are my own, but I don't know if I can get all 8 of them. Can I do a mixture of internet photos and original photos? And that answer is yes. If you do a mixture of internet and original photos, then go with option 2 of the project, that is the internet photo version, and just make a few of them your own. So you would have to still do 15 different examples. So take a look at this slide right here for a second, guys. And at the end, we're gonna have some more question and answer session. But right now I'm gonna kind of take a pause on that because I do want to get to the lesson today and also teach you about Zoom a little bit. There are 2 options on the Fibonacci project. There's your own photography, which if it's all your own photos, you only need 8 examples. And then since finding photos on the internet is so easy, you do need 15 different examples if you're using internet photos, which is option 2 of the project. Okay, they're both the same. Everything else is the same. The only difference is the number of photos that you need. Now, if you do either project, you can totally add more graphics, more photos, but the ones that need to be explained, in option 1, you need 8 different explained examples, and in option 2, you need 15 different explained examples. But you could totally jazz it up with different graphics that aren't explained and stuff like that, just like I did here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you an example of a Fibonacci slide from a Fibonacci project. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Theo because he did share his slide with me. I didn't do it, he did it. And so I kind of just stole it from him. So here's an example of a slide for the Fibonacci project. Notice it's got the photo, it's got an explanation. The explanation says why it's related to the Fibonacci sequence in nature. And also the photo is numbered. Uh-oh, it just went bye-bye. Let's bring it back. Things got fancy there, folks. Okay, so I do want to show that it's numbered right here. Please number your photos so that I know that this is an actual photo that's part of your project. It's not just like a graphic that's added to jazz it up. So that makes it easy for me to grade. And this little 5 over here, this is just optional. He just put that in there to jazz it up. But you guys don't need to do that. So I hope that helps you a little bit to have that example. And I did post that on Edsby the other day. So make sure you kind of look through my page. Okay, so now we're gonna let it go bye-bye. That looks like a Harry Potter, what is it called? Oh gosh, I don't remember. Anyway, so now I wanna talk to you just for a second about submitting your Fibonacci project or any other projects in my class onto Edsby. Since you cannot hand these to me directly, we are gonna submit through Edsby. I know that some of your other teachers have had you just Edsby message them your projects and stuff. I am not doing that, and I'm trying to teach the other teachers in the 6th grade team how to do this through EDSB. Makes it a lot easier for us to keep track of 100 projects at once. So if you see here, this is the My Work page. So if you click on My Work, you should all know how to get there by now to see your grades and stuff. Click on My Work and it will bring you here. And then you go to submit right over here where this yellow arrow is, and you just click submit, and then you upload your project through there, and then it'll go directly into my grade book saying that it has a big check mark next to your name saying that you turned it in. Nothing will get lost since it's virtual and there's 100 projects going at once. Also, just to make note, also in this screenshot, you can see most of you have taken the Fibonacci. Don't go away, come back. Hold on one second. Let's go back there. I've got a super sensitive new laptop. Okay, so you see at the bottom here, it says retake test. Most of you have already taken the Fibonacci mini quiz that's on EDSB, and some of you may have gotten less than an A. If you want to improve your grade, which I highly recommend doing, because this is not, does not often happen in my class, you can do an optional retake until the end of the day today. So until tomorrow. You can, I think it's at midnight tonight when it stops, but you can go on to Socrative, excuse me, not Socrative. You can go right here and click retake test. This is the Fibonacci mini quiz. This one actually is formative, and if you look right here, it says formative. This one is not included in your grade because we were just testing out how to use the EDSB test system, and that was when EDSB was going down and stuff. But if you want to retake that, just so you know what you're doing with the Fibonacci sequence, you can do that. And then also the quiz that you guys took on Socrative, you can go ahead and improve your score on that till midnight tonight, and then I'm going to lock your grade in. Okay, so just make sure you guys do that today. All right, I'm going to go ahead, and I know some of you are raising your hand, but I do have things I want to get to, and at the end, I'll answer those raised hands. Okay, and if you accidentally raise your hand, you can click the hand again to lower it, just so you know. All right, so I'm excited to see your project submissions. They're due on April 6th, Monday, so not today, obviously, but next Monday. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Zoom. Okay, so I know this is new to you guys. Some of you may have gone to Miss Kara's Zoom meeting this morning, and so if you did, then you've seen something similar to this, and she's gone over some of the rules with you. This is really similar to what she shared. A couple expectations that I have for the etiquette of this class, because it is an online class, is that you show up on time at the scheduled time. If you show up a little early, it'll be more laid back until everyone kind of comes in the room, just like it would at school. And then once we get started, I am going to mute all of you guys, and so that we can get started. There are times when I will unmute you, just like you saw earlier, to call on you and things like that, or maybe to participate in a discussion. Find a good quiet place in your house, free from distractions, free from siblings, pets, parents, televisions. I know Theo and I had to do that over here at our house, you know, kind of get everyone out of the way and find a quiet spot. Also, you need to maintain respect in both speaking, writing, and appearance. Okay, so make sure, you know, you got your clothes on, you're on video, make sure, you know, you're not just schlubbing it. You know, you guys have to remember that when you show yourself, this is going, you know, out there to parents and students, a lot of parents and students. So you want to kind of show your best self and not be overly silly and stuff like that. Also, this includes the time when you just kind of enter the room. Make sure you're being nice and kind to everyone, because everyone can hear you if you're unmuted. Go ahead and stay on mute when I mute you. Click on the raise hand button if you'd like to contribute, and we can get you to contribute. Today I'm kind of locking it down really tight because I do have so much to get through, and I want to make sure you guys get the information you need. And then as the week goes on, we'll kind of like loosen the reins a little bit, and I'll call on you guys more to have more of a classroom discussion. Video needs to remain on to promote focus. so that we know that you're focusing, you make eye contact, and so that you're really paying attention to what's going on the screen and what I'm saying. Otherwise, you could easily get distracted and miss something. And then just refrain from chewing gum and eating and drinking in front of the camera. Again, this is a class, so kind of treat it like that. And then just kind of chill out and, you know, learn from home, which is kind of fun. All right, so we're gonna go to one feature I want you to practice. And I don't think anyone has done it so far today, but I want you to try to send me a chat message. So the feature is only to send a message to me. There's no way for you to send chat messages to each other, but try to send a message to me. You can click on the chat feature at the bottom of the screen. If you don't see chat, then click on participants and look to the bottom of that panel, and there should be a chat feature. It looks different depending on if you're on a phone, if you're on a computer, and then it also depends on if you have the Zoom app downloaded or if you have a Mac and a PC and stuff like that. So it will look different depending upon what you're using, but just try to look for that right now and send me a message to say hello just to test it out. And I'm gonna kind of pull this up here and maybe let me hide that. See if it's gonna tell me if you guys are doing that. And in fact, I think I'm gonna exit this and go to Zoom for a second. Bear with me here, guys. Audio is glitching. I see Kaida said the audio is glitching. My own voice is glitching? Yeah? Okay. We'll figure that out. Jake, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't find the chat.
Okay. You notice I clicked on you, Teresa and Jake. What are you using? What kind of computer?
iPad.
Okay, I haven't looked at it on an iPad. And I know I tested this out with Ms. Amber earlier and she couldn't find the chat either. So that might be a function that only works with a desktop or a laptop computer.
Okay.
Is there anyone else that, give me a thumbs up if you found the chat and you were able to send a message. I see some people have comments. The only thing is I don't know how to get to them while I'm screen sharing. So let me go ahead and see let me stop screen sharing here.
Am I in the picture here?
Stop share.
No, don't get me out of the picture. Sorry,
This is so much fun, guys. Okay. Do you guys see me or do you see Jake? Let me unmute you for a second. Hold on. Gio, do you see me or Jake on your screen right now?
I see you.
Oh, good. Okay. I was
I
just testing out to see if that's right. Now, hold on a second, Gio. What's your question?
So for the chat thing, like I saw it when I was doing Miss Kara's thing, but I don't know what happened.
You don't see it? It should be on the bottom. If you go to participants, it should be there, or it should be it should just say chat. Now, it could very well be there were so many settings we had to go through that I ended up somehow checking off that you can't chat me directly, but I thought I had it where you can. So if that's not working, we can test it out next time. It might be that that's the case because I see a lot of people raising their hand, but I don't see much chatting going on to me. So there must be a little feature here that's not allowing you to chat. So I apologize for that because I thought I had it all set. We'll figure that out next time though, I promise. Thank you for your help, Gio. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you guys again. I'm gonna put back our presentation. We're all getting used to this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay. Do you guys see the participants? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to move that off. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so now we're going to get to some math, guys. Cue the eye roll. Okay, we are diving right back into algebra. So we're going to work on the chapter that we had skipped to get to geometry. We're going to go back and work on that. So I'm going to introduce to you guys inequalities. Inequalities are like equations, except instead of an equal sign, you have an inequality sign, which means they're not equal. All right. So here are some examples of inequalities in the real world. We've got, and I'm gonna try to use my fancy pen here and hope that it works here for the first time. But right here we've got an example of crab. When you go fishing, if a crab or a fish is a certain size, you either have to throw it back if it's too big or too small. It has to be within certain restrictions. So here it says that the crab must be at least 2 3/4 inches. So it has to be 2 3/4 inches or more. Okay, so that's actually 2 3/4 inches or more. There's a way of writing that with math. Okay, so that means it has to be greater than or equal to 2 3/4 inches. Okay, and the greater than sign goes that way, where the number, remember the number line gets bigger going to the right, and then or equal to is like a mashup of greater than and equal. Okay, and it has one line underneath it. So this is greater than or equal to 2 3/4 inches. Okay. Another way that you might see inequalities is like on a speedometer like this. You need to go 55 or below. Maybe the speed limit is 55 or below. Well, this is what it would look like as an inequality. Here we see a carousel, and you see this a lot at theme parks. It says the minimum height for this ride is 130 centimeters unless accompanied by an adult. So that means, again, I try to reword it to get me to understand what's going on. So that would be 130 centimeters or more. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to a tablet so I can actually write correctly. Okay. And then this one here says you must be at, you must be at least 18 to operate. So that means 18 or more. Again, that would be greater than or equal to 18. And you just use an X, meaning any number greater than or equal to 18. All right, so we're going to go to the next slide. Inequalities, here's the definition. An inequality compares two values, showing if one is less than, greater than, or simply not equal to another value. These are all the symbols that you're going to need. Less than sign, we know that already. The greater than sign. Guys, remember that I taught you it's like the number line? Okay, and we said L to the G. Okay, we got the less than sign points to where the number line gets less. Think of it like an arrow. And the greater than sign points to where the numbers get greater on the number line. And it works out so beautifully because we're LG and it's L to the G. Well, it's the same thing with less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. They point in that same way, but then they have that little mashup of equal sign at the bottom of it. And then we also have a not equal sign, and I've taught you guys that a couple times, and sometimes that'll pop up. That's if you get a solution that is, not equal to the other side of an equation or an inequality. All right, so let's kind of take a look at what this would look like in the real world. And one of the inequalities that is real world that pops up into my mind is always like a roller coaster or a ride. Like if you go to Busch Gardens or Disney and you have to wait to be this certain height in order to ride that ride that you really want to ride. So this is what it is referring to here. It says you're going to Six Flags as soon as school's out. Yay. You have to be at least 4 feet tall to ride some of your favorite rides, but it isn't only 4 feet tall people who can ride the rides. How tall can you be and ride the rides? When it says you have to be at least 4 feet, it's not just people who are exactly 4 feet. It's people that are 5 feet and 4.5 feet and 6 feet and 6'5" and 5'6". So it says, see if you can figure, and you know what, I'll write that in words, 4 feet or more. The key to this is always rewording it, okay? See if you could figure out how to represent this with an inequality sign, that means less than or greater than sign, and a variable, which means a letter. Hint, if it were an equation, it would look like this, x equals 4 feet. So if it was supposed to look like this, uh-oh, I pushed the eraser. If it was supposed to look like this, but we're not saying exactly 4 feet, we're saying at least or more, then we can change that top bit to be greater than. So greater than or equal to 4 feet. And so that's what it would look like. What are the possible solutions for x? Well, again, it could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 5.5, it could be 4.8, as long as it was, you know, feet. Those would all work. So there's multiple possible solutions. With equations, you guys have only one solution, but with inequalities, we have a whole set of numbers that can be solutions. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and try this, and I did post this onto my Edsby page. I know this is the first day of class, so we're kind of just learning what I'm trying to teach you what to expect in my Zoom lessons. And I'm gonna go ahead and put notes on Edsby. I did attach notes that look just like this on Edsby. If you have them, you can click on them. Maybe if it's on a different device, you can click on them, or some of you may have already printed them. You don't have to print them, it's optional, okay? And if you're listening to this on YouTube, it would be beneficial to have this in front of you as well. So what you're gonna do here, instead of using inverse operations to solve, we're gonna plug in the possible solutions, because we wanna determine which number is a possible solution of the inequality. So these are our choices. I don't really like how they just throw them in there because it makes it look confusing. So I'm gonna circle my choices here. And then basically we're gonna replace A with these choices and see what works and test it out. So 18 plus 2 is greater than 21. Well, we know that 18 plus 2 is 20, and it's not greater than 21. So that is not a true statement at all. That's wrong. That's not gonna work. So 2 does not work, so I can cross that off. Now we can try 3. 18 plus 3 we know is 21. But is 21 greater than 21? No, it's not. It's greater than or equal to. So if that was a greater than or equal to sign, it would have worked out. So now we know that 4 is going to work, because 18 plus 4 is 22, and 22 is greater than 21. So our solution is, whoops. Oh no. Hold on a second, guys. Bear with me here. Our solution is going to be 4, because that is the only one that works, okay? So 4 is a possible solution for A. So that means A has to be greater than or equal to 4. Okay, and that's getting ahead of ourselves. Really, all you need to do is know that the 4 is the answer. But it could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 7, it could be 8, as long as you notice the ones that were smaller did not work, but the numbers that are bigger than 4 will work. All right, so we're gonna move on to this one over here. This one's a little wonky because the X is in the second spot, so you really can't use inverse operations on this one. So again, we're gonna plug in the possible solutions for X, see which one works. Here we've got 21 is less than or equal to 19. This can really sound very convincing, guys. So you have to read it and see if it makes sense and if it's telling the truth. This is not telling the truth. Okay, so that's not correct. So that doesn't work. So there goes the 3. Let's try 4. 24 minus 4, that's 20. Is 20 less than or equal to 19? No, that doesn't work. So there goes the 4, so it's got to be the 5. And if you want to do mental math, you know in your head that 24 minus 5 is 19. Is 19 less than or equal to 19? Well, it's not less than, but it sure is equal to, and that's one of your options. It can be equal to. So that works. That's a true statement. So that means your answer, your possible solution is 5, which again means that X has to be 5 or more. And we'll get more to that tomorrow. I do want to, we did an addition and subtraction, so I want to skip ahead to some that are multiplication and division. So here we have 3, and I'm going to replace n with 12. Let's see if it works out. 3 times 12 is 36. 36 is 36 less than or equal to 37? Yes, that's a true statement. So 12 works. But let's see if, let's just make sure that 13 and 14 won't work. 3 times 13 is 39. Is 39 less than or equal to 37? No, that's not going to work out. So we know that 13 and 14 are not going to work. It is going to be the 12. Let's go ahead and try a division one, because these sometimes freak you guys out when you see it because it looks like a fraction to you, but you need to remember that that fraction bar is a division symbol. So I'm going to plug it in. 24 instead of m. So 24 over 2 means 24 divided by 2. And I want to see if this is a true statement. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Is 12 greater than or equal to 13? Nope, not on this planet. So 24 is not a solution. Let's try 25. Well, I know if I share $25 with a friend, that's going to be $12.50. Whenever I've got something like this, I always think of money or time. And here I'm thinking money. So $12.50 is not greater than or equal to 13. So I know that doesn't work either. So what's half of 26, guys? I know you're saying it. It's 13. So 13, is that greater than or equal to 13? Yep, it's equal to. So that does work out. So 26 is a possible solution. And so is 27 and 28 and 29 and 26.3. Anything that is greater than or equal to 26 is going to work there. All right, now let's look at, oh, we did some that are like that. Let's go ahead and look at these. This is a different type of problem a little bit. They're basically telling us, hey, I found the answer. Okay, and we're going to see if it's a possible solution. Are they right? Is the given value a solution of the inequality? And we're going to answer with true or false. So 2 plus, and I'm going to take the 7 and plug it in for S. 2 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 10. Well, you just simplify the left side, simplify the right side, and then just rewrite the symbol, guys, going the same way, and that's how you're going to do this. So you have 9 is greater than or equal to 10. No, that's not true. Okay, if it was less than or equal to, it would work. That's not true, so that's false. It's a false statement. So it looks really convincing, guys. You got to pay attention to what it's really saying. Make sure it's true or false. 14 minus, and we're going to plug in 6. 14 minus 6 is less than 9. 14 minus 6 is 8. Is 8 less than 9? Yeah, that works. So that's true. Please bear with me on the handwriting here. I'm going to get better at this. I have a touch screen, so I'm trying not to touch it too much. 15 is less than or equal to 3z. I'm going to plug in 4 for z. So 15 stays the same. Less than or equal to stays the same. But 3 gets multiplied by z, which in this case they're saying is 4. So we're going to plug that in. So 15 is less than or equal to 12. Is 15 less than 12? Nope. Is it equal to 12? Nope. So that's not correct. That's false. And then 9x, and in this case x is 9. 9 times 9. Is 9 times 9 greater than 80? Yep, I can hear you guys saying it. It's 81. Okay, so is 81 greater than 80? Yeah. It doesn't have to be equal to. It's either going to be one or the other. So it is, that works. So this is a true statement. So today we're just focusing on finding possible solutions in an inequality. Guys, you treat these just like as if they are equations. The only difference is the equal sign is not an equal sign, it's an inequality sign. And then you just read it from left to right and see if the statement's true. Now, one thing that I find, I'm going to just go to a blank screen here. One thing that I know is going to be an issue is if you don't know how to read these symbols. Okay, so that's why you need to go back and look at your notes. I did include them in the notes on EDSB, and also remember that number line that I talk about, that this arrow is pointing to the left, which is getting lesser. So that's the less than symbol. And this arrow is pointing to the right, which is getting greater, and that's the greater than symbol. So less than or equal to. Greater than or equal to. And that's a good little way of remembering it, that I wasn't taught that way, but I just kind of figured it out along the way. And because you're not going to be able to use the crocodile eats the bigger guy in this case, because we've got variables and stuff. Okay, so just make sure you're able to read a statement and see if it's a true statement or a false statement. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and close the screen share so that I can answer some of your questions before time is up. I hope you learned a little bit about Zoom. I hope you learned a little bit about math. I know it's been a long time since that's happened. And I hope you're getting used to this Zoom system. I know I'm still getting used to it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and bring it back to this. Okay. Now I'm going to try to get it so that I can answer your questions here. Give me a second. Ooh, we have 62 people in here. We got a party going on. Okay. So right now I want you to check. If you truly have a question, keep your hand raised virtually, the little hand on the screen. If you do not have a question, unraise your hand by clicking on it again, lowering your hand, okay? Because I'm going to start calling on people and you don't want your hand raised unless you really want to raise your hand. All right. Let's go with, let's go with Emma Hansen. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, Emma, what's your question?
So my question is, like, for the Fibonacci like sequence project, can we like draw out the pictures?
It's supposed to be a photography project, so I would rather it be some sort of photography, whether it's from the internet or your own photos, really.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank
But
you.
you could draw pictures on there to add a little creativity to it, but it just can't be one of the 8 pictures or 15 pictures, depending
Yeah.
upon your option. But you could
Okay.
definitely add some things on there if you want.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put you back there and lower your hand. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call on Sienna. Okay, so I'm going to unmute you. Hi, Sienna. I feel like I'm on a radio show. What's your question?
Wait, I did not put that up.
Okay, that's okay. I'm going to lower your hand then. Okay, there's a little thing that you can do to lower your hand.